Good evening, one and all. I know it's time for dinner and cocktail, so I won't keep you waiting. I have a quick timer of 10 minutes and I'll stick to that. Okay, promise. So my name is Vigneswar and my firm is called Architecture Plus Value. It was started with the idea of adding value through design, and there's an interesting backstory behind this firm name because I studied in Ahmedabad, SEPT as an undergraduate student, and I was teased by one of my faculty members as to, Vignesh, where's the value in what you're doing? So then I decided that yes, if I start a firm, I'll name it Architecture Plus Value. And there started the journey. And in this conference, we have, like over the past few hours, listened to how architects and architecture and design can do the best for sustainability. What if I tell you that to actually have an impact on sustainability, you really need to step out of being an architect and a designer. You really need to push the boundaries. You really need to explore what more you could be than just an architect. Why can't architects be developers? This was the question which Architecture Plus Value asked in its early stages, and why there are some compelling reasons. So number one, power. We architects are powerless, right? We are always overruled by our clients. So number one, we get power. Second, we have entrepreneurial growth. Everyone loves money here. All architects say, where's the paisa? You become a developer, paisa hi paisa hai. And end-to-end control, streamlined collaboration, innovative urban environment, and design integrity. All these are points which are like additional bonuses. So I'm just going to talk about one single project which we did early on in our career, which is called Radiance Iris. Here, what we did was that we were just learning the ropes of how to become a developer. And we partnered with a young and upcoming developer again called Radiance Reality. This was their first project in Bangalore. And we happened to become their design and a junior partner in the project. So in this project, we were involved from the time we selected the site. So when you study final year architecture, you're given this job of selecting a site, right? After that, when do you ever get to select a site? So if you become a developer, every time you get to select the site. So you go around shopping for land, you go selecting sites, you go around looking at what perfectly fits the bill. And this is one project where we got to select the site. We chose a land which was very close to the Bangalore highway, immense developmental potential, 4 acres. We had to achieve a density of 165,000 square feet to make it financially viable. So which had 77 row houses and clubhouse. Now, this was our first exercise as an architect working with a developer and a junior developer. So what are the constraints we are working in? We had so many unsold, stalled projects right next to our site, like these large high rises which were half done and stopped. And we were searching for a sustainable and a successful model of development. We had a very strict budget which was put on to us by our senior partner, which said 1,950 rupees per square feet of saleable area. That's it, or you get out. So that was the brief which was given to us, and we had a very high task of achieving the density in the project, which is the FAR. Being a low-rise development, we had to achieve an FAR of 1.2 on a site of 4 acres, which is quite a daunting task, without killing the project and making it an urban like a concrete jungle. So what did we do as architects in the project? So we came up with these set of green design strategies, which actually made a huge impact in the project, made the project livable along with achieving the density in the project. So there are a set of 8 strategies which we followed in this project. Strategy 1 was maximizing the green open spaces. So here what happens is that usually when developers start working on a villa project, they give a road in the center, chop the plot into multiple pieces and put buildings inside each of those plots. So this is a standard method which a developer follows when doing a villa project. So we advise the developer saying that, see, if you do that, you will end up with again a concrete jungle for the kind of density you're looking at. Why not start clubbing houses together and give more greenery in the middle? That was a big strategy, and that happened because we were able to change the dynamics of land ownership itself, which is something which an architect cannot do. So you need to really look into the other aspects of architecture as well. So in this one, the land was given as an undivided share to the buyers. And second strategy which we were able to follow was climate response. So in climate response, what we did was that there was a lot of challenges with respect to the site itself being a narrow strip. So we essentially used the site to our advantage, and there were a lot of massing studies which were done so that the south block became a fully shaded block with a lot of trees and row houses, and the north block became a premium set of villas. And there was a lot of strategies which we worked on, like with the built and unbuilt, the self-shading devices which we could form certain courtyards in the center, and create a large central spine which could activate the entire project. So at the building level itself, there was a lot of work which was done into the subtractive masses. So we have this huge mass, which is the maximum volume. We started carving into those mass. The daytime spaces, which is the living, dining, kitchen, was tucked into the ground floor, which was shaded by the first floor, which was cantilevered on the top. And the second floor became a party terrace, which capitalized on the Bangalore climate. So the ground floor, which was used during the day, was shaded by the first floor. And the second floor became like a evening space, which is used for like evening parties and activities. The material language and the architectural form of the development followed this logic. So the ground floor had this heavy stone mass, the first floor had this wide projected mass, and the second floor had this light frill kind of on, which is capping the whole development on the top. Strategy 3 was retention of natural vegetation. Now we forced the developer to, like literally our partner, to invest a lot into this aspect of the project. So we mapped the site very carefully. We were blessed with 193 trees. So we saved around 160 of them, transplanted around 30 of them, and 2 were dead trees. So we had to remove them. And we also got a lot of natural vegetation into the site. Strategy 4 was energy. So instead of providing a diesel genset, which is normally there in a gated community to provide power, we advised the role of solar PV cells for each house with a battery. This instantly, what it did was that it decentralized the whole energy grid. Secondly, it also created surplus energy which could be fed back to the grid using net metering. So the villa was actually earning money from the grid by supplying more energy to it, rather than consuming passively. All the energy fixtures in the common areas are all LED fixtures, and the materials which we used are AAC blocks, which was reducing the dead load, and even the cladding which we used was a quarry waste slate, which was a byproduct of mining. Strategy 6, water. Now, water is something which is a nightmare in Bangalore. So if you live in Bangalore or Chennai, I'm sure Guwahati also faces the same kind of a nightmare with water. It's a love-hate relationship. So either you love her or you hate her, but you eventually end up in a breakup sort of a situation with water. Here what happens is that in Bangalore, water is a serious issue. We have to drill boreholes of about 400 feet deep to just reach the water table. So we have about 100% rainwater harvesting, which is done in this project. We had a huge 2 lakh liters capacity sump, which was used to store the rainwater for all the dry period. And all the surface rainwater was captured in percolation pits. Additionally, there was grey water recycling done in this project. So what we did was that we used the natural terrain on the site to collect all the wastewater in a sewage treatment plant, which was then supplied recycled water as grey water to the houses for flushing and landscape purposes. And there was some beautiful work which was done by some of my seniors by connecting all the lakes in Bangalore. So we fed all our extra water into the lakes of Bangalore, which revitalized the entire system around. So the most important strategy of all is this, which is building sustainable communities. So when you work as a developer or as an architect working with housing projects, this is the most important thing, which is the biggest takeaway of a project. You're building a community. You're building a sustainable community, and that starts by involving all the different age groups. You need to bring the grandparents, kids, and parents together and provide a space for all of them to just be themselves within the community. So that works through careful design of the entire unbuilt spaces in the community, where we can give them like green spaces and these kind of shaded courtyards. So if you see this particular thing, like there are 6 homes which come together to form a shaded courtyard from which they gain access. So each of the houses kind of comes and opens into each other in the morning. You have kids playing around. It's a beautiful community. And additionally, there is an interesting story behind this bridge, which also emphasizes my point on what is the advantages of working beyond an architectural role. So this bridge is something which is connecting two houses is something which is unique, because in Bangalore there's a rule which says that if the houses are connected to each other, they form a single block. And if the plot has only 2 blocks, it gets approved under the local body and does not go to the central body. So the developer saved about 6 months of time in getting the project approval, and at the same time saved about 2.5 crores in fees for getting the approval sanctions done. Additionally, we sold this bridges for 50% of the area. So we generated an additional revenue of around 7.5 crores. So there was a net profit of around 10 crores, which got a beautiful design element into the project, which is a shaded bridge, which enabled people to come together and created this community. So this is marrying economics with design. And this is the overall impact of the project, where you can see the clubhouse, the central swimming pool areas, and the spine areas. And this is the indoor environment which we created. Simple commonsensical rules, put all the toilets together so that you can share the stacks, save the cost, open out the spaces to the maximum possible extent. And we are very lucky to have got some good recognition for one of our early projects. We won the JK Siemens Architect of the Year award and the A Design award. And architects make uncompromising developers. And that leads to far more sustainable cities and a far better impact on this world. Thank you for the opportunity to present my work. Thank you.
So we have the floor open for 2 questions. Anyone in the audience has any questions? Anyone? I think everyone is like, we need to go to the bar, we need to go to the bar, right? That's what everyone is thinking. Okay, she does. 1 second.
Okay, I just have like a quick, simple question. You said something about the architects being developers. So I was just thinking, like, if architects become developers and buy plots and develops a plot, isn't there like a loss of identity of the area over time that comes from like individual ideas that leads to the growth of culture?
That's a very, very interesting question.
Thank you.
So I would like to answer this question by stating that when you take different hats, you do not lose your identity, but you grow larger. And that is the fundamental part of any profession, wherein you stop just being one particular, like you have to look at yourself as a human being who is living within the society and trying to solve a problem, rather than being an architect or a professional who is defined by a term and a council. So that is what we really need to look at. We need to look at ourselves as architects, and as architects, what more can we be? We can be entrepreneurs, we can be designers, we can be developers, we can be so much more than just architects. And I think I want to explore that, and I have tried exploring that. I am having a lot of fun. So yeah, that's where it is.
Time for one more question. Anyone in the audience? Yes, sir.
From architect to developer. So architects, we are concerned about quality and also design. But developers' mentality is profitability.
Yes.
And scalability, correct?
Yes.
So how do you maintain these 2 things? How do you maintain your quality being an architect? So this is a great challenge, from being architect to developer. So that's why many may be questioning this thing. Thank you. This is
that's again a very interesting question of how to. That's a very personal question too. How do you balance being an architect and a developer? There are quite a few successful case studies across the globe, and it's not a unique phenomenon. I can say that it's a fast developing trend too. And given that, as a developer, what I would say is that profitability comes also with brand identity, and you develop brand identity primarily through quality. And doing that quality work is something which an architect is more geared for doing rather than a developer. with my experience of having worked with some of the top developers in South India, I can tell with confidence that most of these guys are IIM graduates who look at an house as an Excel cell. It is just a particular unit which has to be offloaded for a particular amount of profit. Whereas when you as an architect step into that role, the house is no longer just an Excel cell. It's a family, it's a home, it's a space, it's a unit which exists within the city and a community. And that passion drives you to make a far better quality of a product, which you would be surprised. This particular project was slated to be sold out in 24 months. It sold out in 18 months at the peak of COVID. We started this project in 2019. By 2020 December, we were sold out. So, and each unit was 95 lakhs. And the primary reason why people chose to buy into this project was the amount of greenery which we were able to bring into this project. So people in Bangalore were able to see and appreciate the quality which an architect brings into a project. And that is something which I feel will go a long way in shaping our environment in the future. And I hope I did justice to your question.